Hello and welcome to this week's Golf Betting Show. Steve Bafford here from Golf Betting System. I take it that you are well. As ever, I'll start the show by saying if you want to subscribe, just click on the button under the screen if you're watching it in YouTube. Okay, two decent events this week. We have the start of the Fedex Cup playoffs over in New Jersey, the Barclays tournament, which is always a very intrinsic, very interesting tournament to unpick. And on the European Tour, we have the Czech Masters, which is played at the Albatross Golf Club just outside of Prague. So a decent standard on the European Tour as well. I'll quickly run you through Paul's commentary on the D&D Real Czech Masters for you. Being played at the Albatross Golf Resort just outside of Prague. It's a 7,516 yard par 72 and features bent grass greens. It's a booming course. You might remember Jamie Donaldson effectively assured his place on the Ryder Cup team here with a cracking victory at 14 under. And the number that really does jump out at you is 80.6% in terms of his greens in regulation that week, which was second. And most of the guys that were around him were all in the top echelons of the greens in regulation stats. Tommy Fleetwood, Bradley Dredge, Soren Kjeldsen and Eddie Pepperell. So it really is a green in regulation ball strikers tournament. This week's published Czech Masters predictor model is available. Paul has obviously just published this. As ever, golf betting tips for all of our statistics, which are free. The predictor models are free. Our betting previews are free of charge. I'll take you through Paul's published model, and I always say week in, week out, you can come to Golf Betting System and pull together your own tailor-made model, of course, using all the statistics available. 10, Pedro Oriol, 125 to 1 at Sky Bet. 9, Matthew Fitzpatrick, 28 to 1 with Betfred. 8, Morten Madsen, 80 to 1 with Betfred. 7, James Morrison, 22 to 1 with Betfred. 6, Terry Pilkderis, 80 to 1 with Betfred. I was having a bit of banter with Paul last week about the way that I pronounce Terry. 5 is Eddie Pepperell, 18 to 1 with Paddy Power. 4, Paul Peterson, 80 to 1 with Sky Bet. 3 is Ruud Kakko, 66 to 1 with Betway. 2, Victor Dubuisson, 14 to 1 with Sky Bet. And number 1 is Bradley Dredge, 28 to 1 with Stan James. So that's Dredge, Dubuisson, Kakko, Peterson and Eddie Pepperell. If you're looking for a bit of value further down, Marcel Schneider is 200 to 1 at 12. Jamie McCleary is 150 to 1 at position 15. Merrick Brebner, who did well here last year, 125 to 1 with Betfred at number 16. You've also got Victor Rui, Ben Evans and also the big hitting Belgian Thomas Peters at 90 to 1. And Scott Henry, who came very, very close to winning in Madeira a few weeks ago, is available at 150 to 1. So moving through to Paul's tips this week, he's going for the following. Victor Dubuisson, 2 points each way at 14 to 1 with Sky Bet. Ball striker, playing decent golf at the moment and played well to get a nice top 30 finish at Whistling Straits a few weeks ago. The drop down in quality this week is absolutely, it's Everest-like, the drop. And Dubuisson, 2 points each way at 14 to 1 with Sky Bet. Paul thinks he could be capturing his second European Tour triumph this week over in the Czech Republic. Interestingly as well, Dubuisson, when he won in Turkey a couple of years ago, managed to beat Jamie Donaldson around that Turkish course. So that course link is quite strong. Another player that's playing really well at the moment, and it was noticeable last year that guys that did well in Denmark covered that or carried that through to the Czech Republic. Bradley Dredge at 1.5 points each way at 28 to 1 with Coral for Bradley Dredge, the Welshman who played brilliantly last week in Denmark. And he still needs a nice finish on the European Tour to guarantee his playing privileges for next season. Bradley Dredge, who obviously finished in second position here last year as well. And then the guy that actually beat Scott Henry, who I mentioned a while ago, in Madeira Islands. He can hit it a country mile, a very talented young Finnish guy. Rup Kakko, a point each way at 66 to 1 for Kakko. He is third this week in the predictor model, as you know. So Paul's gone for the top three in the predictor model. And then Tom Lewis, a talented Englishman, as we know, who can play very well on wide past 72s that are exposed and low scoring. Tom Lewis, half a point each way, 125 to 1 with Sky Bet. So that's Lewis, Kakko, Bradley Dredge, Victor De Vries on. The full preview available at Golf Betting System. Just type Golf Betting System or Golf Betting Tips into the search engine of your choice. Okay, 120 of the top 125 in the FedEx Cup standings start the playoffs this week. McIlroy and Sergio Garcia are both resting. Louis Oosthuizen has hurt his back again, which is a real concern for Oosthuizen. He would have had a good shot around here, potentially. And then you've got Francesco Molinari, who's having his second child, and Retief Goosen, who's got issues at home, who aren't playing this week and won't make it into the top 100 for the Deutsche Bank at TPC Boston next week. I'll take you through this week's predictor model. It's interesting with both Paddy Power and Stan James both going 6 places each way, and we've only got 120 in the field this week, so there's some value to be had. Henrik Stenson's at 10, 28 to 1 with Coral. 9 is Brandt Schnedeker, 40 to 1 with Sky Bet. 8 is Zach Johnson, 55 to 1 with Sky Bet. 7, Dustin Johnson, 12 to 1 with Betway. 6 is Jordan Spieth, 6 to 1 with 888 Sport. 5 is Bubba Watson, 25 to 1 with Sky Bet. 4 is Matt Kuchar, 35 to 1 with Bet365. 3, Justin Rose, 12 to 1 with Betfred. 2, Jason Day, 10 to 1 with Paddy Power. And number 1 is Jim Furyk, 40 to 1 with Sky Bet. So Furyk, Day, Rose, Kuchar and Bubba Watson. Now I'm following the strategy of Paul to a level this week. I'm tipping up 2 of the top 5 in the predictor model this week. I'll just run you through some bigger prices before I move on. Jason Bone is in position 11. He's having an exceptional week. He's done well in the New Jersey, New York area in the past. 150 to 1 with Bet365. You've then got Koepka and Casey, who have been tipped up elsewhere. Fowler's at 14. Patrick Reed's done well at the Barclays in the past. Wilcox keeps banging on the door, Wilcox, but this does seem a level above. He's 110 to 1. And then you've got Jerry Kelly, William McGirt, both at 200s. Brendan Steele's playing some great golf at the moment, 125 to 1. And Rory Sabatini, 200 to 1. They're the bigger prices. Now, for me, it's an interesting tournament, as I said. The Barclays, for me, you're looking for players that haven't won this side of Augusta. I think you're looking for players that have won in upstate America. There's a definitive link also with Doral, and there's a big link in terms of their FedEx Cup positions. Anyone inside the top 8 or 9, I'm likely to stay away from. This looks like it's a week where it's a classy winner and a winner that, you know, at the end of the day, the FedEx Cup now has gone from 500 points a winner to 2,000 points, and that naturally gets you in the top 5. That top 5 position is absolutely vital when it comes to Eastlake, because if you're in the top 5 or win that week, you've got control of your own destiny. You will be the FedEx Cup champion. We scored last year here with Hunter Mahan, who was 50 to 1. And Mahan, one of these ball strikers that can play very, very well on bent grass and bent Poa greens. Poa New is definitely in the mix on the green surfaces this week. And as we know, a lot of players do not putt extremely well on bent Poa. Now, Plainfield, the Barclays does move from course to course, and Plainfield is the course that is hosting the tournament this week. It was played here, or the Barclays was held here in 2011, and 19 under won the golf tournament, Dustin Johnson. Now, the course that week was pretty much swamped with rain, both prior to the event and during the event. It was only 54 holes. They had a hurricane coming over or coming into the area that weekend. They had to shut up shop early doors. It was as damp as you like that week, and that's why the scoring was so low. Now, reading interviews from a lot of the players, they were saying that if the course had been firm and fast, it would be a totally different proposition altogether. So, since 2011, the course has been lengthened by around 50-60 yards. They've taken away the easier of the 3 par 5s. It played as a par 71 back then. They've taken away the easier of the par 5s and made it into a 495-yard par 4. So, with very, very long rough promised, 3.5 inches minimum, and also with firm and fast conditions, I think this golf course is going to play a lot closer to the kind of 11, 12, even 14 under kind of scores we're used to seeing at the Barclays, which brings in a different kind of golfer. Firm and fast greens also mean that potentially we're going to see this turn into more of a putters could have a real advantage, because they reckon the greens, a lot of the greens are very undulating. Poa and Newer doesn't really sit favourably with a lot of players. They can't get their heads around it at all. There's lots of severe undulation on a lot of these greens. But at 7,500 yards for a par 70, which is only 7,000 yards, the greens are extremely big. So greens in regulation is a real, or big good numbers, is a real possibility for some very, very good and strong putters. So for me, I can kind of see it being slightly putting orientated over ball striking this week, purely because of the speed of the greens, but also because of the size of the greens. Now, that takes me to the following 4 players this week. Guys I really fancy. Don't forget, there's 2 more events also in terms of the President's Cup, both for the international team and the American team. And with big points available, we could see some serious changes in the top 10 for both especially for the US team. I'm going for the number 1 pick with 13, 14, 15 under the likely target. If it was 19, 20 plus, forget about it. But I can't ignore this week's predictor model, number 1, Jim Furyk, 1 3/4 points each way at 40-1 with Sky Bet. Furyk is playing some great golf at the moment, was leading 2 after rounds 2 and 3 at Firestone, which is 7,000 plus 7,400 yard par 70. We all know he loves a par 70. He's a winner already in 2015. Don't forget, that was a monkey that he got off his back this season. And where the major championships were played on booming par 72s and courses he couldn't get anywhere near, the Fedex Cup this year with this par 70. Also with a short par 71 at Conway Farms, where he's finished 3rd in the past, and also with Eastlake being a par 70 technical, right up his street this year, the FedEx Cup playoffs. He's currently sitting in 18th in the FedEx Cup, so a win this week, or even a top 2 or 3, really gets him into the mix for the overall title. So Jim Furyk, 1 3/4 points each way, 40-1 with Sky Bet. He has a habit of winning upstate. Next up, a guy that really loves the Barclays. He has a good reason to go well this week. He's only 26th in the FedEx Cup and 9th in the President Cup standings. Loves the Barclays, loves playing near New York. Matt Kuchar, 1.5 points each way, 35-1 with Bet 365. Another guy that's highly motivated, Brandt Snedeker, 12th in the President's Cup standings. Finished 3rd here in 2011, what am I talking about? A great putter like Kuchar, who finished 2nd. Brandt Snedeker, 1.5 points each way at 40-1 with Paddy Power. That's 6 places each way. And finally, a little bit more left field, but a guy that has won at Congressional in upstate US. You always get the feeling with this guy that majors are way out of his comfort zone, but World Golf Championships, the Players' Championship this year, he can mix it. Bill Haas, 3/4 of a point each way at 66 to 1 on Haas. So that's Haas, Snedeker, Furyk, and also Matt Kuchar. Greetings, golf pickers. Steve Bamford here from Golf Betting System. I take it that you are well. Welcome to this week's golf betting show covering the Tour Championship on the PGA Tour and the Porsche European Open on the European Tour. Two cracking events, of course. The Tour Championship headlines. Let's get to the quick of things. Some decent bookmaker promotions this week. 30-player field over in Eastlake at Golf Club in Atlanta, Georgia. A very, very select group of 30 players, apart from the odd. Johnny Vegas has made it there, and also Sean O'Hare. Congratulations to those guys. But you're looking at a very elite field. There are some obvious players that have missed out, the likes of Justin Rose, for example. But it's a quality field. 30 players, so most bookmakers have gone 4 places each way. However, Stan James have gone 5 places each way, full court of the odds, as have Sky Bet. 5 places each way, full court of the odds. Last year, Sky Bet were the first bookmaker to do it, and this year they've done exactly the same as Stan James have matched them. Now, of course, via golfbettingsystem.co.uk, come and read all of our free statistics, our predictor models, our betting previews. It's all there, loads and loads of content this week. If you sign up via the website, you will get a free £20 free bet with both Sky Bet and with Stan James. So, worth popping along. And if you fancy a bit of value this week at the Tour Championship and you fancy that extra place, Stan James, Sky Bet your man. Over on the European Tour, Paddy Power have gone 7 places each way, of course, a fifth the odds. And Sporting Bet have also gone 6 places each way, a quarter the odds. So plenty of value out there this week if you're looking for additional places. Okay, let's crack on with the Tour Championship. It's definitely the highlight. I'll take you through this week's predictor model. Of course, golfbettingsystem.co.uk. You can come and pull your own tailor-made predictor model together if you don't agree with the variables that I've placed and Paul Williams, my European Tour partner, has placed on the European Tour model. Top 10, Mickelson 35 to 1 at Coral is at 10. 9, McIlroy 13 to 2 Stan James. 8, Matt Kuchar 33 to 1 with Bet365. 7 is Paul Casey 18 to 1 with BetVictor. 6, Patrick Reed 20 to 1 with Betfred. Top 5, Russell Knox 40 to 1 with Sky Bet, 5 places each way. And then we've got Jason Day 10s with Betfair Sportsbook. Adam Scott 11s with Betfair Sportsbook. Jordan Spieth is 9 to 1, generally available at the moment. And you won't be surprised, Dustin Johnson, who played so well at Crooked Stick, 5 to 1 with Betfair. He goes in to Eastlake as the #1 ranked player in the Fedex Cup series, over and above Patrick Reed. Okay, so Dustin Johnson, Spieth and Scott make up the top 3 of this week's predictor model. What do we need to know about Eastlake? Well, I always say this with a pinch of salt because, in modern day golf, as soon as you start talking about driving accuracy and how it's important, someone like Jason Day comes along, hits virtually no greens, or Jimmy Walker, no fairways, and wipes the floor. But at Eastlake, 2.5 inches of Bermuda grass, thick rough, an extended golf course this year. It's close to 7,400 yards. They've extended the 16th and the 17th holes, and this is even quirkier. They've reversed the sets of 9 holes. So whereas before those extended holes would have been the 7th and the 8th, they're both par 4s, they're now going to be the 16th and the 17th. Traditionally, Eastlake always featured the closing hole, which was that evocative par 3 the year. Remember Bill Haas and all that kind of stuff a few years ago. This year, though, it's going to be their 600-yard par 5. They clearly want a finish where there's some par 5s effectively. Eagles are available to the very, very longest hitters. It's a 600-yard par 5. On top of that, of course, birdies will be available. If you don't make birdie on a par 5, we can see changes late on. That never really used to happen with that par 3 finish. Eastlake Golf Club, other things, it's Mini Verde Bermuda grass greens. We're back to Bermuda grass. Don't forget, we haven't seen any of that since the Wyndham, which was played at Sedgefield before the FedEx Cup series. Some players like Bermuda grass, others don't. It's the kind of course, and there's plenty and plenty of player feedback on this week's betting preview that I've just published. But a lot of players say it's the kind of course that you can't overpower. From the PGA Tour official statistics, when it came to going for the green at Eastlake last year, it ranked the hardest golf course on the whole of the PGA Tour. When you went for the green, you actually hit it. It doesn't take full. Put it this way, it doesn't take falls gladly. It's a Donald Ross design. A lot of the greens are very, very sloping. They're also thin but long. Greens in regulation, unless it's going to play very soft, is a difficult task around here, and that brings plotters and short game specialists really into the mix. So where it seems to be a real mix. You can get real GIR grinders like Henrik Stenson that can win here, or you can get the likes of Brandt Snedeker, Jordan Spieth, who can hit just about enough greens, but they're very good at getting up and down to minimise bogeys, and of course they're fantastic putters. However, it does suggest that you need to be a little bit cautious off the tee, and you have to hit some fairways. So if you're looking at the big names, the likes of, for me, Patrick Reed, I describe, he's not hitting nearly enough fairways. Adam Scott is struggling off the tee at the moment. There are a lot of players that aren't hitting fairways at the moment. Jimmy Walker's, the usual suspects. Potentially, they can feature. They have featured in the past, but they haven't actually won, and that's the key, isn't it? Of course, the full breakdown, and the other thing I will say is, we're looking here at fairway width, 300 yards, 24 yards of the width of the fairways on average at Eastlake. Compare that to Crooked Stick, which played soft, 34 yards. So the fairways at the 300 yard point are 10 yards thinner than we saw at Crooked Stick. And when you miss the fairways, it's the accuracy that you lose. Reading Rob Bolton's piece earlier this morning, there's a huge variance. If you're on the fairway, you can hit the ball close, and the players here always talk about having uphill putts because the greens are very contoured. But if you're in the rough, you've got little control, which means you can hit greens, but what you can't do is make birdies. It really is a course where maturity, not in terms of age, but in terms of your golf play, comes to the fore. So I'm going for the following three players. I'm going Jordan Spieth, 6 points to win at 9-1 with Bet365. Of course, if you open up an account using bonus 200 via golf betting system, the bonus code bonus 200, you will get a £200 first deposit bonus. Jordan Spieth won here last year, playing some decent enough golf under the radar. I mean, at the end of the day, he's had 2 top 10s across the FedEx Cup playoffs. His real problem recently has been his accuracy. He's really struggled with his driving accuracy for a long time now. And there were real signs at Crooked Stick that he was finding a lot more fairways. That didn't overly relate itself to greens in regulation numbers, but what it did mean, he could hit the ball a lot closer because he was in the fairway a lot more. And you could tell, looking at the numbers, both putting average and strokes gained putting, the putting's coming back to where it needs to be. He loves Bermuda grass. He's had 3 wins on Bermuda grass on his PGA Tour campaign. Of course, he won here last year. He's outside the top 5 in the FedEx Cup Series. He's 7th. But effectively, if he wins, I think it means that someone like Dustin Johnson or Patrick Reed would have to finish a solo second for them to win the FedEx Cup and him not to. So he's very much in the mix. He knows that. A lot of his comments after Crooked Stick, he really wants to go here, defend his title. It's never been done before. No one's ever defended the Tour Championship, and no one's ever defended the FedEx Cup Series. But if anyone's going to do it, it's someone like Jordan Spieth, who's had a disappointing year, and he's going to be hungry. I can just see Spieth going really well. 6 points to win, 9-1 with Bet365. Bigger prices. I'm going 1.25 points each way on both of these with Sky Bet 5 places each way. The Scotsman Russell Knox, fantastic statistics. Hits at, he's perfect, isn't he? Hits fairway, hits green. If he doesn't hit the green, he's a great scrambler, top 10 scrambling from the rough on the PGA Tour. And this doesn't tend to be a putting contest. It tends to be a reliability contest. Hit those fairways, hit those greens, minimise your bogeys, you're going to be in the mix. So Knox, I love it. He plays well on Bermuda grass. They have extended the course that takes him towards the top end of where he's useful. He does tend to be a sort of sub 7,200 yard golf course player, but it's a par 70. I think he can go well, Russell Knox. 1.25 points each way, 40 to 1. Also, and this is interesting, read some stuff about yesterday, Monday, that a lot of the players the US team players went to Hazeltine. They took along Bubba Watson, who hasn't qualified, and of course, he's the favourite, but they also took along Justin Thomas and Daniel Berger. And I really do fancy Berger this week. He won at St Jude, his first PGA Tour title this season on Bermuda grass. Daniel Berger, 1.25 points each way at 40 to 1 with Sky Bet. If one of the outsiders for that last spot with Davis Love is going to fire, for me, statistically, and also the way he plays, it's Daniel Berger. So if I were you, I'd lump on Justin Thomas. Okay, let's take you across quickly to Germany. We're heading across. It's the Porsche Open, a decent field. Played on the Beckenbauer course in Bad Griesbach in Germany. It's a Bernhard Langer course. It's the same course they played last year. I'll take you through the predictor model. Of course, Paul Williams is full. He's on decent nick at the moment. 2 decent each way places. You get the feeling a win's coming. I'll take you through his tips in a minute. But here's the top 10. Campillo 80 to 1 with Bet365 on the predictor model. 9 is Scott Hend 30 to 1 with Stan James. 8 Nicholas Colsaerts 50 to 1 with Paddy Power 7 each way. Rickard Karlberg 40 to 1 with Betfred is next. Bradley Dredge is at 5, 70 to 1 with Sporting Bet 6 places each way. Hebert is 90 to 1. Hebert 90 to 1 with Bet365, the Frenchman. 3 Peters 10 to 1 with Bet365. 2 Bland 33 to 1 with Paddy Power 7 places each way. Number 1 is Bernd Wiesberger 10 to 1 with Paddy Power 7 places each way. Wiesberger, an interesting guy for this. It's what can you say? It's a pretty much standard golf course on the European Tour. When you look at a lot of the nondescript golf courses, it's there for the taking. Effectively, Tongchai JD shot 17 under here last year. There doesn't look like to be any bad weather, negligible wind speeds, etc., etc. So it's going to be a birdie fest. He basically got the job done. Wasn't great in greens in regulation, top 20, but his scrambling, he was first, and he also putted particularly well. He minimised bogeys, 2 bogeys across the tournament. So we're looking for players that can putt. We're looking for players that can build a nice low total. So Paul's going for the predictor model number 1, Bernd Wiesberger, who at his last outing in Holland, very, very rare for him to feature in the top 5 for putting average, but he did. Bernd Wiesberger, 2.5 points each way, 16 to 1 with Paddy Power, 7 places each way. Disappointing year. Now outside the world's top 50. He will want to rectify that, get back in the top 50, so he guarantees all of his major championship and WGC appearances for next year. If he's found the putter, we know that he can collate big scores and low scores. So Bernd Wiesberger is Paul's main tip or top tip. He's also gone for a further 5 players this week. If you're looking for players that can go well on Birdie Fest, Alexander Levy is always close to the top of the list on the European Tour. A point each way, 40 to 1 with Paddy Power, 7 places each way, of course, are 50 odds. Another player that's just starting to show signs that he's coming out of his slumber, Lucas Berregard, 3/4 point each way, 60 to 1 with Betfred. David Lipsky, Paul's been following Lipsky for a number of tournaments. He's playing well enough. A 3/4 point each way, 66 to 1 with Sporting Bet, 6 places each way. And then finally, 2 outsiders. A guy that's played a lot of golf on this course, won a lot of the lower level kind of championships around here, like 2 Bavarian State PGA Championships. Florian Fritsch, Half a point each way, 125 to 1 with Paddy Power, 7 places each way. That sounds like a no-brainer. And also a player that's played well at the Lyonnais Open and won it in the past over in Austria. You know, these kind of things happen. He's been flitting between the Challenge Tour and this tour and the main tour, but he was 10th last time out in Denmark, which has been his best result of the year. Mikael Lundberg, the Swede, half a point each way, 200 to 1 with Sporting Bet, 6 places each way. Thanks for watching. Enjoy both tournaments this week and next week the Ryder Cup. Thank you and goodbye.